The stitching, you need to remember to get out the staples. I use this, it's not a sharp knife, it's the dullest knife I had. And when I use that, I can get the whole staple out. And one go. And it's important to get all of it out. If a little part of the staple is broken off and stays inside the fabric, under the fabric, it will start to rust. The kayak is done now. All the stitches are done, the seams, the ends, and I've taken out the staples, and I have made the area around the cockpit wet. And now it's time to stitch on the cockpit. To keep it in place, I use a regular strap like this. I make it go under the kayak. And through here. And then put the cockpit on top of the deck beams, fore and aft, and stretch it. As I bend down the cockpit, I just tighten the strap. So, this is for me so that I can have a relaxing time stitching it. Now that it's tightened, I just look at the cockpit and see if it is straight. There should be symmetry here. It's pretty straight. Maybe move it a little bit here. And then I also just make sure that the holes are not covered by the strap. So I just move the strap a little bit. Now it's more or less it's ready. You can tighten it just a little bit more. That's it. And first of all, when it's in place, I will just need to cut a little bit of this extra fabric away. I will leave about 5 centimeters from the edge, or 2 inches. And having done that, I can start stitching. And the stitching is 2 processes. First process is to make the wood and the fabric come nicely together, and make sure that the fabric is tight around the cockpit. And second is to make it make another stitching around it, which will look nice, and make sure that the water won't get in. So I begin here with the first stitches, and I start here at the back. Here's a nice triple fold, and that's a good place to start. So I just go through the fabric on the inside, and I just need to move that a little bit, just outside the nearest hole. Out. And then I pull with my fingers, pull the fabric up toward the cockpit wood, and go. So I've made an an extra long thread for this purpose. The problem with the long thread is that it may start to curl a little, and then you will have some knots on it, which can be very frustrating. Just keep it tight all the time and hold the fabric close to the wood. And I just cross the strap. Now I'm getting close to the strap. I just cross it. I can still remove it later. Now you can see what happens now is that when I move forward, I pull the cockpit slightly to the side. So when I get to this point where the strap is, for instance, I start going the other way, and I will continue around here to this point and then back again. So I make a double stitching all the way around, and I'm starting it now. So I go out, and if you take a closer look on the outside here, you can see what happens. Now it's possible to see how every second pair of holes is covered up here with thread, and when I go back now, I cover up every space. And look again at the inside. Just make sure that the fabric comes really close to the wood. I'm gonna give you a good view of that in a second. As you can see, I have finished the stitching now. It is pretty tight on the inside, and it's good and tight on the outside. I can now remove the strap that holds it in place. And now it's time to cut the remaining fabric here. The very last time I need to cut, I leave about 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters of fabric all the way around. Now I'm going to fold this in and up, and keep the fold in place with my very last stitch here. So I fold it in like this, and now it's getting slightly thicker. That's it. Now the idea about this is two things. Of course, one thing is to make a pretty end of the cover, and second, to cover up the holes so that there will be no water getting into the kayak. And like last time, ooh, this was a hard one. I'm trying to stick through a knot or something, I don't know. So the idea is to work all my way around here and then take another turn, come back. To be continued. So that's it. I finish it off with a last one here. And I go out on the outside and I just tie a knot around one of the strings on the outside. That will be a half stitch. It's kind of tight, but it works. That when this gets varnished, it won't be able to go anywhere. You just cut off the loose ends here.